I'm back. Rhodes for the Matrixx and Rhodes show. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe, ground and pound the like button. And as always, thank you guys and gals for supporting this channel. Showed your ass yesterday. A boatload of new subscribers to this channel. And we appreciate everybody, old and new, that has come on board. Let's get to the potential predator known as Ezra Miller. Wow, Warner Brothers Discovery is in a utter and complete nightmare. They have found out Ezra Miller is an okay groomer situation, and they're in a bind because they have a budgeted, highly anticipated Flash movie coming. The long-awaited return of Michael Keaton. Ben Affleck coming back as Batman. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. The multiverse. This was supposed to be a huge deal. It would affect other movies, new properties, spin-offs for DC, and their lead actor looks like a total and complete creep show. Let's be real. And it looks like that Warner Media is done with Ezra Miller post-Flash. And I want you to keep something in mind. This is bounding into comics. I'm going to read this first paragraph, and then we're going to talk about it. In light of the scandals mounting against him, the belief that Ezra Miller is damaged goods who may never be able to rehabilitate his image reverberating around Hollywood, particularly so at Warner Brothers Studios. Okay, let's just take that. Do you know how big of a sorry son of a bitch you must be? How big of a creep show you've got to be that in a world where Harvey Weinstein was a total creeper for how many years in that town, do you know how bad this has to be if Hollywood has given up on you already? An entire culture of scumbags, James Gunn, etc. The list goes on, and they are done with him. Wow. According to Deadline, Miller's rampage is not only the first crisis of new CEO David Zavlev's Discovery era, but how he'll handle it is a serious question. As the publication notes, though the studio has allegedly tried getting help for the actor, his continuous scandals have left Warner in a spot where they can't exactly put Miller on the press tour, even if he were to stay out of trouble. Not that he can be counted on to even do that anymore. Look, he was making fun of the police the other day while they were trying to serve him. He was going on social media and making fun of the police. My God. It's nuts. The Flash is another matter. Though the film is finally in the can and holds a release date of next year, Miller has already effectively short-circuited its box office potential and potentially other DC films. Think about that. Again, it's supposed to reset the DCEU post-Snyder. Wow. Will anyone even want to see it in light of a history of arrests and assaults dating back to 2020 in Iceland? Suffice it to say, it's a very bad thing for the studio if moviegoers don't want to show up for the Scarlet Speedster's reality-smashing continuity reset, as the future of the DCEU hinges on the film's success and plans are already in full swing. With his introduction to the DCEU multiverse, Michael Keaton's Batman is supposed to stick around and train a new generation of heroes, including Leslie Grace's Batgirl, whose solo outing is being prepared and prepped for a 2023 release. How can Zavlev manage the damage? Deadline says he has two options. He can either pull back on heavily promoting the summer 2023 film, confining it to P&A and no publicity tour, or he can regulate it to streaming with HBO Max and take a write-down. Wow. Think about that a second. we're in a situation now. Look, the box office is back with a fury. With a fury. Look no further. Jurassic World, Dominion, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, this was to be a huge, huge box office hit for DC, and now they've got to literally consider HBO Max only. Wow. Yet, considering the movie's initial $200 million budget, the untold cost of promotions and reshoots, as well as the cinematic universe plans laid out above, it's unlikely Warner will cut their losses and throw The Flash onto streaming a la Wonder Woman 1984. There is, however, one card left for Zavlev to play. Audacious as it may be, it could be more soothing to the corporate bottom line, even to a fault. According to Deadline, the newly appointed CEO can choose to, quote, lean towards making the movie a hit and then drop Miller if things can't be straightened out. How are you going to straighten this out? I mean, literally, how are you going to straighten this out? Making things even worse is Miller has shown himself to be far more toxic than even a false version of Depp presented to the public by Heard via numerous arrests, and they're referencing Johnny Depp being dropped from Fantastic Beasts, recorded assaults, and now is facing multiple child grooming accusations. The non-binary actor, and that's their words, not mine, he's just some damn nasty-ass dude, as a self-proclaimed life coach, allegedly used his status to get close to adolescents as young as 12. This week, his transgressions came back to haunt him when a Massachusetts mother and child issued a temporary harassment prevention order after accusing Miller of menacing them and acting inappropriate with a child. A witness for the order even alleged at one point during their encounter, Miller told the then 11-year-old child's mother, I've talked extensively to your child, and they have a lot of power to them. What in the hell does that mean? At one point, you're going to even realize that you don't have control over them anymore. Told a mother you don't have control anymore over an 11-year-old. I'm surprised he made it out of that situation. Wow. They're an elevated being, and they would be lucky to have somebody like me to guide them. Holy shit. A week later, the parents of teenager Takata Iron Eyes issued a separate order of protection against Miller for the negative influence they alleged he has over her. Ezra uses violence, intimidation, threat of violence, fear, paranoia, delusions, and drugs to hold sway over a young adolescent. Takata said the parents in their filing, as obtained by several news sources. Jesus, it just goes on and on and on. With each passing week, says Deadline, the studio's silence on Miller makes more and more audacious for Warner Brothers to recover the ball. The studio is apparently aware of this. This is an inherited problem for Zavlev. The source says the hope is that the scandal will remain low level before the movie is released, and hope for the best to turn out. So, and that's where we'll leave it there. But, wow, what a mess. What an absolute mess. Newly acquired. Think you've got this massive movie ready to reset the universe. Your lead actor is a total creep. I mean, make your skin crawl. Sounds like he ought to be locked away, put in his freaking straitjacket. And this is what you've got, the lead actor. Now, I've been very vocal about the fact, so is Matrixx. Neither one of us has ever liked this guy. Okay? Even though we love the Zack Snyder universe, he, to me, has always been the weak link, the weak guy in it. And part of the reason is because of Grant Gustin's, because we got him first, okay? And I saw that, saw his performance on the TV show, and I thought, man, this is going to be a tough act to follow. And Ezra didn't follow it, plain and simple. Okay, they did show up together in what was a nightmare crisis wannabe situation that CW put together. But again, that's not Grant's fault, okay? That's the writing. That's the CW and their identity politics and all that shit that has nothing to do with his performances and his acting and how he's carried Barry Allen. He's tried to make lemonade out of lemons, and It hasn't worked out. I mean, I've long since abandoned the series. But it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with the writing. It's terrible. It's typical Hollywood woke bullshit. And, of course, he trended all weekend long because of that as a replacement for Ezra. So that's even a weirder thing. And I said, I don't think the studio will make the right decision here. I don't. I don't think they'll replace him with him. I don't think they know what to do. And they'll probably, if they do end up cutting Ezra, and again, we're talking about Hollywood. Hollywood now. Alec Baldwin is still walking around in Hollywood right now, functioning as an adult. And potentially still, I mean, he's been cast to be in 2 movies, for crying out loud. Alec Baldwin. Think about that a moment. I mean, they didn't even want to cut Amber Heard. They had to pull literally 4.5 million fans, and Warner Brothers is still claiming they may not cut her. Amber Heard. And Hollywood as a whole has supposedly already given up on Ezra Miller? Boy, you've got to be a known train wreck scumbag to have reached those levels in the repugnant neighborhood known as Hollywood. Wow. Absolutely crazy. It's a creep show. It's a total freak show, a horror show. American Horror Story 12, Ezra Miller's true story. Jesus. Starring Lady Gaga as Ezra Miller. Tell me what you think. Matrixx and Rhodes Show fans, peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. Link in the description. Use promo code USA First, all one word. USA First, all one word. 25% off now.